In the first scene, a man with a medieval appearance is walking along the road, going about his business, when all of a sudden a huge demon monkey appears in front of him. The demonic beast then appears to be just too strong and ruthlessly attacks the man, knocking him to the ground like a rag doll. The man is then briefly introduced to us after that. He is Sun Wukong, a haughty man who hundreds of years ago caused a commotion in the heavenly palace. He had apparently pierced the sky and wreaked havoc, which ultimately resulted in his expulsion from the heavenly palace. Now that he has hit the ground and been imprisoned, no one knows where he is. Moving on to the present, a young child on a search for Sun Wukong, is presented to us. She wants to find him so she can ask him for assistance getting to the Sky Palace. It turns out that wants to report the tragic events surrounding the death of her parents at the hands of Long Tai Zi, the god of dragons. When he eventually makes it to the alleged prison where Wukong is being held, she runs into evil demons who try to capture her as she makes her getaway. He starts to run, but the ground gives way, causing her to fall in. The demons are about to capture the young girl at this point when they unexpectedly hear a familiar voice. Wukong is the one and only. The demons completely disregard him because of his shackles, which is the only issue. But just then, Yi unintentionally presses a button, freeing Wukong from his shackles. Once free, he uses his flashy moves to quickly take down all the bad guys before escaping the area with Yi. The next scene shows Tai Zi gazing at his former palace, which the powerful Wukong has destroyed. He remains devastated by what happened. A maid walks in at the same time carrying his drink and begins making fun of the old palace. Tai Zi becomes so enraged by this that he stabs the helpless maid to death in a fit of rage. After some time, Tai Zi learns that Wukong has been set free and is getting ready to fight him fiercely. The young girl is awakened by Wukong in the meantime, and as soon as she recognizes him, she bursts into a tight embrace. But because Yi is unsure whether Wukong is a demon or an animal, she is unsure of how to address him. Wukong explains his identity as the Monkey King to her, clearing up her confusion. Yi then begs him to assist her in getting to the heavenly palace so she can confront the god of dragon about his terrible error in killing her parents. Wukong declines, but nonetheless chooses to take her to his former residence. They set out on their journey through various terrains until they encounter a demon village that seems to be deserted. When they look closer, they see that a cruel ruler god by the name of Shangde is enslaving and oppressing the demons. Demons are currently being executed one by one in a gruesome act of retribution for their prior rebellion against the gods. Wukong is horrified by this scene and decides to take up Shangde's cause in order to put an end to his terrorizing activities. Before Wukong can act, his own brother Lu unexpectedly taps him on the shoulder from behind, knocking him out completely. A short while later, Wukong awakens. To arrive at Lu's residence, little Yi is also present and eating. Lu acknowledges that he rendered Wukong unconscious to prevent him from being killed because he knows that without his golden stick, which is imprisoned inside the Sea Kingdom, his brother is currently helpless. Lu makes an effort to dissuade Wukong from engaging in combat with the god because he previously committed a grave error by insurrecting in the heavenly palace simply to demonstrate his superiority. Wukong's actions had resulted in the deaths of many of his brothers despite the fact that his intentions were to stop them from being undervalued. Wukong ignores Lu's advice to not make the same error again despite his warnings. Wukong decides to leave the location because the two are at odds. He is stopped, though, by his sister-in-law, who shows up with a number of demon armies. Wukong fights them all in a bloody struggle because he won't give up, and he eventually triumphs. But as soon as Lu shows up, the two brothers begin tossing hammer and tongs at one another. Wukong looks weak without his golden stick, and Lu takes advantage of that. Fortunately, Yi steps in and manages to flee with Wukong somewhere else before anyone is hurt. A god by the name of Musin approaches Long Tai Zi and offers him a weapon made by the devil. The ability to control people who are affected by the weapon's magic power is said to be one of its dangerous traits. In order to prevent Wukong from causing as much havoc as he did before, Musin gives Taiz the weapon. The gods are worried about Wukong's freedom because they think he might repeat his previous deeds. Musin cautions Taiz not to use the weapon for personal gain and instead to simply capture Wukong because the heavenly palace will make the final decision. Despite this, Taize refuses to assist and immediately kills Musin, claiming that he already has the weapon and can capture Wukong on his own. He then instructs his men to dispose of Musin's body and falsely claims that Wukong killed the god. It is clear that Taizhi intended to use this to tempt the gods into pursuing Wukong somewhere else. Wukong finally reaches his old house after a taxing journey, where he attempts to reclaim his golden stick. He initially approaches his pet, a huge gorilla, and makes an effort to say hello. Due to their long separation, the beast does not recognize Wukong and instead turns hostile. Fortunately, he uses a banana to calm him down. The two then arrive at the location where the golden stick is kept. Despite his best efforts, Wukong is unable to move the object from its position. A short while later, Wukong is stopped from taking his golden stick by a serpent general. On Taizhi's command, the two get into a fierce fight, with Wukong struggling without his go-to weapon. He battles the serpent's attacks and is quickly forced into a corner. The serpent accidentally hurts Yi out of desperation, causing her holy blood to spill onto the golden stick. The weapon suddenly comes to life and emits a strong aura before breaking the seal. As a result, Wukong becomes more motivated and, using his stick, dispatches Pakin and the serpent general with ease. Wukong promises Yi that he will take her to the heavenly palace after the victory because he feels better. The following scene, we observe the ruthless Shang Dai killing the helpless demons until a child is the target. Lu, who is also present, makes an unsuccessful attempt to appease the heartless god by giving him some money. Shanghai wants another demon sacrificed in its place, not the child. When no one steps forward, Lu decides to make the sacrifice himself as he looks at his friends in shock. The vengeful god then gets ready to put him to death when suddenly Wukong appears from nowhere and begins battling the bad guys. He is re-energized by his magical stick and defeats everyone, nearly killing Shang Dai, but Lu intervenes. The latter claims that since they have feelings, they ought to have compassion for their adversaries. Following the encounter, the demons begin to chant for Wukong and even consent to accompany him to the heavenly palace. Wukong departs with the other demons as a result of Lu's stubborn refusal to stand by his brother. The serpent general informs Taizhi that he tried to prevent Wukong from obtaining his golden stick, but was unsuccessful. He also makes the crucial revelation that the blood of a young girl broke the golden stick's seal. Taizhi is incensed by this information, so he decides to have the girl arrested because he thinks her blood will make Muzin's magic weapon work. Later, Wukong and his band of demons continue their journey in an effort to take on the oppressive lords of various villages. They prevail in their conflict and easily vanquish the oppressors. They decide to throw a small party to commemorate their victory. Unbeknownst to them, the Serpent General enters their gathering by posing as a member of Wukong's army of demons. The young girl confesses that she has been alone ever since Taizhi killed her parents later that night, when Wukong and Yi are spending time together. Wukong assures her that he will take her to the heavenly palace soon in an effort to console her. Wukong and his army successfully take Shanghai the following day. Wukong wants to put him to death, but Yi, who is sick of the violence, has other ideas. She releases the vengeful god without hesitation. Yi becomes enraged and departs after Wukong and Yi argue over this choice. The Serpent General seizes the chance to kidnap her as she exits. Soon after, they get to Taizhi's house. The latter takes immediate action and activates his lethal magic weapon using her blood. He then uses mind control to test the weapon on one of his soldiers. The poor guy shockingly does the unthinkable. Taizhi intends to ruin Wukong's reputation now that it has been proven that the weapon is effective. He immediately takes control of Wukong's body and forces him to battle his own army. Wukong makes an effort to fight the magic, but it is too strong and he is unable to regain control of his body. Taizhi even orders Wukong to kill his own enormous pet as a result. Wukong is heartbroken and broken by the experience because he is powerless to stop his own body from committing these crimes. After a brief period of time, the magic that was controlling Wukong's body disappears, leaving him devastated and regretful. Taizhi seizes the chance and snatches Wukong's golden stick, using it as a negotiating tool to get Wukong's life spared. However, Taizhi quickly pulls a reversal, and just as he is about to put Wukong to death, Lu saves him and destroys his weapon. The narrative then cuts to Wukong awakening after a horrible nightmare. He turns to his brother for assistance out of desperation and uncertainty, but Lu is unable to help him because the other demons view Wukong as a traitor. Even now, they are looking for him due to the crimes he committed. Wukong's future appears bleak because all that is left to keep him going is his own willpower. After the tragic incidents, Wukong is now compelled to lead a solitary existence. He walks around the town with a heavy heart, hiding his identity from everyone who now sees him as a traitor, full of disappointment and yearning for Yi's company. He runs into Shanghai one day while wandering the streets, who is also upset about how everyone has abandoned him. So, having nothing to lose, he divulges Ye's location. Wukong embarks on yet another journey after this information renews his desire and hope to save her. But he only carries a regular stick because he doesn't have his preferred weapon with him. When Taizi's actions are revealed to be ruthless and unfair, the Serpent General returns to the palace and changes his mind, deciding to aid Yi because he cannot bear to see an innocent girl suffer. However, Tai-Zi intercepts him and throws him into prison as well before he can carry out his plan. The Serpent General tells Yi why he hates Wukong while they are both imprisoned. He claimed that Wukong's previous chaos and devastation had an impact on all demons, including himself. After some time, Wukong arrives at the Dragon God's palace and charges at him with a regular stick. Tai-Zi doesn't seem to be impressed or alarmed by his presence because he knows that Wukong is helpless without his golden stick. Despite this, our protagonist uses all of his strength and the sparse weapons at his disposal to fight. Tai-Zi manages to gain the upper hand despite Tai-Zi's best efforts, and he corners Wukong with his trident in order to deliver the killing blow. The Serpent General then reappears after using his magic to set himself and Yi free. After that, Wukong and the Serpent General band together to engage Tai-Zi in a bloody battle. However, despite their combined efforts, they are unable to vanquish the god. Tai-Zi, however, accidentally kills Yi in the midst of the melee in front of Wukong, causing him unimaginable sorrow and despair. Wukong is supposed to feel the pain of losing a loved one, according to Tai-Zi. Yi's passing, however, has an unexpected result. Wukong becomes the Monkey King after combining her holy blood with his soul. The demons realize that the Monkey King has returned with a vengeance when Wukong's anger takes over following the full transformation. Wukong pulls out his golden stick and enlarges it to an enormous size, piercing the sky and carrying him to the heavenly palace using his extraordinary strength. He is going to report Ye's passing here and engage the god of dragons in a fierce battle to exact revenge. When Tai-Zi then attacks, Wukong is able to hold his own despite Tai-Zi changing into his dragon avatar. Brutal Li relentlessly beats the evil god until he is vanquished. Wukong recalls the promise he made to Yi as he is about to murder Tai-Zi, to spare no lives. He makes the decision to spare Tai-Zi's life as a result. Lu and the Serpent General show up shortly after to aid Wukong and kill Tai-Zi, but he tells them to stop. The purpose of Wukong's visit to the heavenly palace is not to stir up trouble, but rather to make amends and stop any further commotion. Lord Buddha eventually appears in front of Wukong. He admits that Tai-Zi had gone too far and that Wukong's actions were appropriate. He also declares his pride in Wukong, who has changed and no longer seeks out commotion. In order to help Wukong overcome his selfishness and help him become a better person, Lord Buddha counsels him to forgive Yi for leaving. Wukong, upon hearing this, makes a commitment to give up his haughtiness and aid his fellow demons in performing just acts. Ye's spirit finally soars into the sky, bringing Wukong's mission to an end. Wukong is seen regaining his strength at Mount Fuji in the final scene. A monk falls into the pit hundreds of years later, and Wukong immediately recognizes him as the god of dragons reincarnate. The monk, who is unaware of Wukong's true identity, asks if he is a demon, an animal, or a person. Wukong's desire to prove to the world that he is the great Monkey King is rekindled by these words.
Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.